Oyagala okumanya ebiriwo, ebyaliwo, oba ebigenda okubaawo. Program Tambula n'okumanya eggose. Tambula n'okumanya ku MRU TV ne Royal FM. Tambula n'okumanya. Tambula n'okumanya.
Thatcher was born Margaret Hilda Roberts in Gratham, a small town in eastern England, on the 13th of October 1923. Her parents, Alpha and Beatrice Roberts, ran a grocery where sometimes she helped behind the counter. She had an elder sister, but no brothers or any other close family. She graduated from Somerville College, Oxford, with a degree in chemistry, although she had interest in politics and law. At the university, she won her first elections, becoming the president of the Students' Conservative Association. It was only a small election, but some famous politicians came to speak to her club, and she made some useful friends that helped her in future. After the university, she got her first job as a chemist, and she tried to become a member of parliament for a town called Dartford in Kent, on the edges of London. She tried twice in 1950 and 1951, but she did not come close to winning because most voters in Dartford supported the Labour Party. It was in Dartford that she met and married Dennis Thatcher, and she became Margaret Thatcher. Dennis was older than Margaret, and he had fought in the war. She gave tremendous help and support in everything Margaret did. In 1953, Dennis and Margaret gave birth to twins, Mark and Carol. After Margaret got married, she decided to train as a lawyer, something that she had planned for some years. She tried to find other places where she could stand for parliament, but it was difficult, partly because a lot of conservatives felt that women with young children should not have careers. But after some years of trying, she was chosen to be the Conservative candidate for Findlay in North London, and finally becoming an MP in October 1959. She became well known in 1970 when a man called Edward Heather became Prime Minister, and she was given an important job of Education Secretary, responsible for Brittany's schools and colleges. Margaret was British's Prime Minister for almost 12 years, between 1979 and 1990. She was the first woman ever to hold that job or to lead any big country in Europe and America, and she became very famous in the world. She played an important role in the peaceful end of the Cold War in Europe. She became the first woman ever to lead a political party in a country like Britain. She became the leader of opposition because her party was not in power, and it was the largest party that opposed the government. She did this for 4 years. At the beginning of the terms, policies were unpopular, and there were very many protests and criticisms. But in that time, things began to improve. Most people in Britain were impressed, and Margaret became known for her Iron Lady toughness as well as more confidence in herself. When the next election came in July 1983, the government was voted back into office with an even higher share of support. The short turn-up in economy returned her to the second and the third term in office from 1983 to 1990. In retirement, Margaret remained a political force, and she continued to influence the internal Conservative Party politics, and the Thatcherism shaped the priorities of the Labour Party. She died in April 2013, and she was buried in a grand ceremonial funeral at St. Peter's Cathedral. The Queen attended, as well as the Prime Minister and many other famous people from all over the world. Her coffin was carried by soldiers from Welsh Guns, a regiment that had fought bravely in the Falklands War. NAMAKULA BARBRA, MRU TV.